Hello everyone and welcome to a new SketchUp speed build. So today I'm building my first ever skyscraper in SketchUp, and this is kind of the video that's the start of a new generation of SketchUp videos on my channel. For the past few years, or 1 year maybe, I've been uploading SketchUp videos on this channel. It just kind of started out as a test, and it turned out that I really like building those houses because, you know, the opportunities are actually endless. And many of my viewers actually like this as well. I'm almost the only YouTuber uploading SketchUp speed builds, and therefore, it's kind of new for many people, but it turns out that very many people do actually like it. And I personally always just really like building it as well, just because the opportunities are endless, as I said before. But there was always something that I wondered, and that was whether I could actually build a skyscraper, because for me it really seemed like building a skyscraper was something that was kind of impossible, because it would just in the end would not turn out to look nicely, and it would take way too much time to build like all the balconies, and just because the skyscraper is very big it would take way too much time. But this weekend I actually just started building, and it turned out that it is actually possible to just build a skyscraper. You know, that it was possible, that was like pretty obvious. Of course it's possible to build a skyscraper, but that I could actually build one just in my free time as a 15-year-old boy, and just doing it because I like it and not wanting to spend like weeks on one build. It turns out that it is actually just possible, and I'm very happy with that. And I must say I really enjoy building these skyscrapers, so therefore I really think that this is going to be the start of more SketchUp videos, because I just got very enthusiastic of SketchUp again, and I'm planning on making more of these videos just because I just feel like I'm very proud of these videos. You know, with the Sims videos, the Let's Builds and just the Let's Play, you know, I enjoy making those, but they're not really special. There are many people doing it, and there's not that much more creativity going into it actually. You know, of course in the speed builds of the Sims 4 and the Let's Builds there's still some creativity, but it's just less creativity than into these builds, and that really made me feel that I actually really like making these. And I actually got inspired to make this skyscraper because I just got back from Dubai, which is of course the place with the skyscrapers. It's enormous, it's like a very huge city, and it actually has like two areas with like huge skyscrapers, and I actually got very much inspiration from there. I went there like on a city trip for several days, and I went to the Burj Khalifa, which is like the biggest building in the world, and that was kind of an inspiration for this as well, though it really looks different, and this is definitely not the biggest building in the world, or the tallest building in the world, but still, I think that this skyscraper turned out to be really nice and was really inspired by that Middle East Emirates kind of feel that you have there, where the opportunities are kind of endless for architects. That's what I really like about it, and that's kind of a dream of me, to become an architect like there in Dubai, where the opportunities are endless and where you can actually really, you know, come up with any idea and really build it. Because, you know, here in the Netherlands, you know, the budget for building things like this is just not as big as it would be in Dubai. You know, the Netherlands is a very well structured and like a good country to live in, and everything is like organized very well. But you know, in Dubai they have like oil money till, you know, they've got just money enough so they can seriously build like the tallest buildings in the world and build like palms in the sea to increase the coastline they have. And before going, it wasn't a surprise trip actually, so I didn't know that I was going. But before I would ever thought about actually going, and I just thought about Dubai, I always thought that it was kind of like only filled with rich and arrogant people, and it is indeed filled with rich people, but they are very friendly. And also, it's not only filled with rich people, they're also just people who actually work for like a very low salary, but who come from countries where their wage would actually be lower, and who are very happy to be there and to work there, and who really like to live in Dubai and are very happy with living in Dubai, because Dubai is really a safe place. It's a clean place, you know, you never see any garbage on the streets, you know. It's just, you know, there's just a very high, I don't know how you call it. How do you call it? You know, if you put garbage on the streets, you get like a very high ticket, actually, I think you have to call it. You know that you have to pay very much money because you actually put garbage on the street. Well, that's the way they actually do that there, but it doesn't really work because, you know, the streets are clean and the people are happy with it. And also, yeah, the service there is just really good. The people are so friendly, and that's just something I wanted to say because I often hear people saying that Dubai is a place only filled with arrogant people, and that's definitely not the case. So I just wanted to make that clear for you. And I just got very much inspiration there as well in order to, or just for building this skyscraper there, because it's just a beautiful city. There are so many, you know, beautiful skyscrapers there. It's very modern, and it's really the place to be when it comes to architecture, actually, which was why I always wanted to go there, actually. And now I have actually been there, and it was awesome. And I got this inspiration to build this skyscraper. So yeah, also this really inspired me and made me like feel more enthusiastic about the job of an architect. Actually, I've always had the idea of maybe becoming an architect, and this has maybe brought me a little bit further to that idea, because yeah, you know, it really starts to get serious, kind of, you know, and a company has asked me to make tutorials on their rendering program in order to yeah, explain their users how their rendering program, which is render NXT, which I've made many tutorials about previously on my channel. They asked me whether I could make those tutorials, and it feels kind of like shit gets real. I'm a 15-year-old boy just building this in my free time because I like to do it. And now people actually start asking me about making tutorials for them, or yeah, the most awesome thing would actually be making models for like an actual architect's company, kind of. So if you're an architect and you like the design I make, feel free to just contact me, because my email address is always in the description of my videos, which subscribers can mail to if they have questions. But also if you're like a company interested in like sponsorships, or, you know, in the models I make in SketchUp, just feel free to contact me, and then I'll get back to you. And I've actually never really realized that architects watch my videos, but it turned out that like real architects do actually watch my videos, which I thought, you know, should actually, you know, get some, how do you say that? You know, they deserve some pride for actually watching my videos, because it's awesome that actual architects have like studied to become an architect and work in programs like these actually watch my videos of me just playing around in this program. But yeah, as you can see here, I'm just making the windows, which I also did on the other side, and that just took a very long, well, did it take, yeah, it took quite a very long time to build it, which was not a good grammatical sentence, but yeah, in the end, it was very important actually, and adding the glass actually, or the glass texture to it, didn't take that long, happily. So in the end, it was really necessary to make it, and it really turned out to be cool. And actually, you know, normally when I build something, I don't really think about the interior too much, because I simply don't build the interior. And I especially don't really think about what it could be filled like with interior. And with a skyscraper like this one, I did actually think about really the idea what it could be filled with, kind of the more practical part, because the lower parts, the lower apartments, are like smaller. They only have like the width of one window, while the biggest one on the top actually has like a width of 3.5 windows. And that makes that the bigger ones are actually at the top, and those are the penthouses. And often the more expensive apartments are often at the top, actually, you know, that's just a thing often. And in this case, that's actually as well, and that's kind of the idea I had as well. And then, you know, in the lower parts, there are just the cheaper apartments in the building, which have like a little bit of a less good view, and which are a little bit smaller. But that's kind of the idea I had around with it. And here I just have, you know, with a skyscraper, why I also never actually wanted to build one was the fact that I never had an idea how to actually make like the entrance area like under the skyscraper. You know, the big part above it is pretty simple to come up with, but the part under it, the entrance area, which I'm currently building, is kind of hard to make and to make look good, kind of. But I think with this one, it turned out to look pretty cool and pretty realistic, actually. It's very modern. And by the way, for those of you wondering why the other part is like entirely made out of glass, I kind of wanted to make the contrast between the very kind of busy and full of life part with the balconies and kind of an area just filled with glass, no balconies. And in this is kind of a concept design kind of, so not like the design the actual builders would use if this would actually be built, because it's just not detailed enough for that. But this is kind of the concept of what I would like a building to look like, or a skyscraper, and that's kind of the idea I had behind with this. So you know, for now it kind of seems like that entire wall is made up of like one piece of glass. Of course in real life that wouldn't work out with like a 250-meter high building, but then there's like much more structure. But for this concept design, I decided to just not go too much into detail, because then I would just really work for months on one building, which is not what I was actually planning to for this video. I prefer to just make several concepts than one way too much in detail video and one way too much into detail yeah, you know, apartment, or in this case skyscraper. So yeah, I'm very happy with how it turned out to look like. I mean, it looks so realistic, and actually the renders, which you'll see at the end of this video, are very cool and make it look much more realistic as well. And the render program, it's a question I get asked quite a lot. Which render program do you use? And it's actually iRender NXT, or yeah, that's the way you write it. You probably say it iRender Next. And that's also the program that I use, or I make tutorials for, because they've asked me to make tutorials for their program, because in that way their users could actually get to know how to yeah, work with it. So I was asked to make tutorials for them, and that's what I'm doing right now, and that's what you've seen me upload quite a few times lately in the past few months, I think. So yeah, it is quite an expensive program actually, but there's a free trial which you can actually download, and then you have like 30 days for free. So you can then check out whether you like it. And especially for like real architects, I definitely recommend this program, because there are very many opportunities with lighting and all that kind of stuff as well, which I really liked about it, and therefore I really advise to actually use that. And yeah, I just like the program, and it really makes it look much more realistic, which is kind of the idea behind rendered images. And you can also make very cool animations actually, which I've made a tutorial on, which I'll put a link to in the description down below actually, because in that way you can actually just directly find it if you are interested. But yeah, I just want to say that those tutorials are really for the users and kind of the more like real architects people who watch my videos, because of course it's a very expensive program, which makes it a little bit less accessible for everyone. But yeah, they asked me to make those videos, and they actually gave me the program, so therefore I thought, you know, of course I'm going to make the videos for you then. So yeah, here you see me making the balconies actually, which kind of added like a nice detail to the building. I think I actually didn't add the balconies to the back of the building, simply because I was kind of too lazy to do that. But of course you can imagine that the balconies are on the other side as well, but I just didn't really feel like it was very like important to make those over there as well. So now I'm kind of going to make some landscaping, well, real landscaping, kind of just an idea of the trees, how I would place them over here, and not anything too fancy or detailed, but just something basic. And then here we are with the animation I talked about during this video, which I think really turned out to look cool. And here are some rendered images which I made of the building, made with iRender NXT. So I think this building turned out to be really cool, and I hope to make many other skyscrapers in the future as well. So please let me know what you thought of this video. Please share it with others who you think will probably like you know, designing videos or skyscraper videos, something like that. And then I thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you back later.